righty, welcome to another episode of Artco Drone Solution. We've got a great guest tonight. We've got Steve Carpenter, all the way from California, sunny California. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thank you, Art. A pleasure to be here.
So, whereabouts in California are you located?
I'm in Southern California, as I said. I'm in Dana Point, the town of Dana Point, which is roughly halfway between Los Angeles and San Diego. We're
Awesome.
just on the coast.
Okay, super, super. You get nice sunny weather down there. That's awesome. We get pretty sunny weather up here in Denver as well. So, are you a native of California?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Born in the city of Orange, Orange County, California.
awesome. Go Angels.
Yes, sir. But before the Angels were here, I used to be a Dodger fan, I have to say.
Okay. Mm-hmm. A friend of mine from high school was part of the Rod Carew trade that
Uh,
sent him to the Angels.
yeah,
Hmm.
great player.
Yes, yes. And then didn't the Rams play there for a while?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They converted the stadium a little bit, and they brought it in so they could bring football games in there.
All right. Cool. So you're not only a droner, you started off in photography, am I correct?
Not, I mean, as a hobby,
Okay.
not a profession. Profession wise, I'm a electrician, and then became an electrical contractor and project manager.
Right. All right. Cool. So how'd you get into drones?
Um, Off from YouTube, like a lot of people. Started watching actually Ed Ricker
Oh,
and
okay.
Rick Smith from Drone Valley.
Right.
Um, Started following, and those were the first few, and then Kelly Shore
Right.
of Ready Set Drone,
Mm.
and then the itch started hitting it as you watch them flying, going,
Right.
I want a controller in my hand.
Right. Right. Well, with me, I just went out and I bought a drone, and then I started watching Kelly Shores. He was one of the first
Yeah.
YouTubers that I watched, and because he did a video about the Buds 3 that I bought. And
Hmm.
then after crashing out a few times, I just thought, I don't know if this is for me. So I kind of put it away for a while. And then I heard about this DJI drone called the Phantom 3.
Right.
And so I went on a police auction website and got a really good deal on one. And that was my first real drone. And first
Hmm.
time I flew it, it was so awesome. I'm like going, wow, I don't have to touch the controls. It stays there. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Quite a bit of difference from when you learn from a regular drone, because my first one was a SEMA 5X,
Oh, okay.
which Kelly had. That's his favorite drone in order to recommend. If
Right.
he said, if you learn how to fly that, you can fly anything.
Right. And that's what I found out later on. I started flying the Buds 3 a little bit, and then I got a little
Hmm.
toy drone so I could fly around the apartment on snowy and windy days. And yep, got into that and love it. So are you part 107?
Not yet. I'm in the process of studying for it.
Okay,
I've
cool.
been so busy with work.
Right.
I just haven't had the time to sit down and buckle down and, shall we say, start on the study guide. I
That's true.
um, I signed up for Remote Pilot 101 for their
Good.
course.
That's what I did, but this was before Ken Heron had the discount.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. That's when I got it. That's how long I've had it, and I haven't started.
well, I started following Ken about a month or two before his accident, a little over a year
Right.
ago, and I thought, wow, this guy's great. He's entertaining, and I watch it religiously every week. I'm going to do
Yes.
some housekeeping real quick and say hi to a few people. Droner and his bike, Claude, welcome to the show. Mitch, old guy in the drone, welcome, welcome. Lloyd, the grumpy vlogger, is here. And who else is here? Drone Life RC, welcome, welcome. And Steve Mack, all the way from Canada. Welcome to the show. Cool. So,
I was
Steve,
just reading. I
yeah.
was just reading the comments in here, and Mitch, old guy at drone, says, "I think this is the first time I've seen you without a hat on." And I go, "Yeah, it was on his show twice actually without a hat." I'm a big hat wearer.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So were you a nerd in school?
Not really. Well, I was business oriented in school, all the way from high school. My mom's side of the family, who I was closer to, because they live in the community that I live in,
Right.
and I really studied a lot in business, so I could type. I knew business machines, that end of it. But I guess you could say that because our high school received a Raytheon computer in my junior year, end of my junior year. It was donated there. It had a whopping 64K of memory. It stood 4 foot tall, 3 feet deep, and I think it was close to being about probably 2 feet wide. And then it had a teletype board
Uh-huh.
and with a punch tape. Well, being the typist, I got the one stuck when I was taking computer programming classes.
Okay. Yep. When I took computers, the first CRTs started coming out. We had
Oh, okay.
terminals with the CRTs, and we did have one what we call a deck writer, where uh,
Sure.
you type on paper the code.
Hmm.
Yep. So
I
that
remember that.
so anyway, we were talking about videos, and you saw my latest video that I put out at Lake Arbor. So you like my orbiting skills there,
Yes, I did. And that's something I know I need to really practice on. And that's taking, dedicated control and learning how to orbit. You did a very nice job. You've improved quite a bit.
well, thank
And
you.
as I said in the comments, I said, I really appreciated it.
Right, right, right. Yeah, it's all the practice I've been getting from doing all those water towers, and now I've been starting to do some promo work for some real estate, and so I'm starting to get the orbiting down. So,
Hmm.
yep. Hmm.
Yeah, I saw that. In fact, I saw that one that you showed. Was it last week or the week before where you showed the house? Oh, I know. It was Paul, when Paul Murray was on.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that was a friend of mine's house. He let me practice on his house, and
Hmm.
and that turned out pretty darn good. Hmm.
It did. Very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. I used a ND32 filter, and I didn't have to do any touch up in post editing.
Wow, that's nice. And
Hmm.
especially where you live in the high altitude, you've really got to watch it.
Right.
That altitude difference makes a huge difference. Like the photography end, I know because of filters and stuff. And being here at, I think I'm probably maybe 110 feet above sea level here.
Right.
And when we go up into the Sierra Nevadas and you go up there, it is
Right.
a big difference.
Yes. Yes, it is. So, what kind of editing software do you use?
Well, I've used for video. um, Adobe. I have the Adobe Cloud solution. So I've used Photoshop, I've used Premiere. But what I'm working on now is I purchased Power Director, and I'm actually going and using that, and is it is pretty slick for everything that you get on board with all the different templates and everything be able to do. It's
Right.
just like you go through the boxes on the
Mm-hmm.
left hand side and you pick what you want, import it, and you can, when you're done, it pushes it right up to YouTube for you. And
Right.
as far as the uh, uh, producing the video,
Right.
it's faster than Premiere.
Wow. Nice.
Did side
Nice.
by side, just change the name, by the name of the file name, and then just put a one after it,
Right.
and did the same thing. Test it. It hands down just boom done.
Awesome. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, myself, I use Filmora 8, and I'm trying
Uh-huh.
to upgrade to Filmora 9, and hopefully that'll clear up some uploading issues that I'm having right now. So,
What
what was
what
your first?
issues are you having? May I
Well,
ask what
like I
issues are you
said,
having with it?
well, off air, the issue was it wasn't loading the whole video up. It was only,
Oh, okay. The last video,
yeah.
right?
Hmm. That's why I had to, what I had to do is uh, convert it to an MP4 file and then re-upload it through YouTube rather than
Okay.
through the Filmora, and it works. So, mm. So what was your first PC?
My first PC was, and the one that I actually bought was an IBM Micro Channel 50,
Wow.
and that was a desktop. And I got that one heck of a cheap price because they were at that time they were almost like $5,000
Ooh,
when they released them, and I got it for $1,000 because they were nothing but trouble.
right. Was
Found
that
out the solution. I found a solution for the trouble, and it worked for several years for me before I moved up. And then I went on to Dell, uh,
right?
and kept on working up. And
So
then started building my own.
right. Yep, that's what I did. So was that IBM? Was that an 8088 processor? It was
Yes,
okay. Yeah, that was my first real computer that I bought. It was a generic, and it was an
right.
8088, and I learned how to upgrade with that, and then later on I just put a new motherboard in and went to a
Mm-hmm.
286, and then I started making towers and went up to, I skipped from there to 486, and then
Right.
the Pentium 1,
Oh,
and
yeah, I remember
then
that.
all the Pentiums and the, oh boy.
Yeah, it was fun because that's back to the old days of when, as we talked just a bit offline, was but covering back to the days of DOS,
Right.
and that's all it was
Hmm.
is DOS, and even to this day I still have a couple programs because in my business, electrical contracting business, there's a
Right.
couple of providers that have old fire alarm systems. And we actually still program them on an RS. I have an old laptop that has an RS-232 adapter on it, port with a handmade cable, and it's a DOS program in order to upload
Wow. That's
them.
amazing. That's amazing. Uh, oh, so what is your internet provider out there? What kind of speeds are you getting?
Right now, we're getting 150 down and 10 up,
Uh-huh.
but we just got notification gigabit is here.
Okay, cool.
So now I have to find out if I have to refinance the house in order to get the gigabit.
Yeah, after watching Greg with his internet over there
Oh,
in Australia, that would just drive me bananas.
I cry almost to the point of crying, feeling so sorry for him, what he
I
has to
know.
go through.
But Spike doesn't have problems like that.
No, it's weird. But
Yeah,
Spike's a long ways away from it,
yeah,
from
that's
where
right.
he's at. And who else? Well, Trevor Magic, he's
Yeah,
got high speed, and I guess it's really isolated.
right. Hmm. Yeah, over
But
in
the shame,
the
no, go
Philippines,
ahead.
they've got high speed internet in the Philippines.
A lot of Asian countries have better internet than we have here.
Right. Hmm. Yeah, because they're so dependent on the internet over there.
Correct.
I
Correct.
follow a lot of YouTubers from Australia and the Philippines, and
Mhm.
those people are the kind of uh, how should I say subscribers. They're over 1 million subscribers, and they're
Oh,
big
wow.
time over there. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Well, I noticed that Jim in there, he brought it
Yeah.
up. It
Yeah.
says,
I was
yeah,
going.
Trevor has fiber to the house.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say hi, Jim. Welcome to the show. Yeah, and that's what I've got here. I've got fiber internet here.
To the house or just to the
Well, I
street
live
and
in
then
an
it's
apartment.
cable?
I live in an apartment. I think it's cable.
Right.
I think it's anyway. But yeah, I've got the cable that runs into my modem, and then I have it hooked up via Ethernet cable.
Right.
Yeah, where
Because
before I was.
I know a lot of places are bringing the fiber, either underground to the front of the home or the rear of the home, or like for us, we have overhead utilities that at first they started bringing them to the poles or lines or your underground, and then from there it's just cable from there to the
Hmm.
the adapters put on, and then it's using the same cable into your house,
Right,
which can get you easily 500 down, and technically should give you able to, if you can come down to 500, you can go up at 500 if they allow it,
right,
but just depending. I mean, I'd be happy for 500, 500 or 575.
right. Yeah, if you're willing to pay for that service.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Do I have to mortgage the house, like I say?
yeah, that's true. What I've got, I'm always constantly looking for deals. So when the
Mhm.
price goes up, I just go right over to their page and I go, okay, let's see what kind of deals they got. And then I click on that and I go, I want that. And
Uh-huh.
then I get transferred over and I still got the same speed. And that's how you get around those price hikes.
Okay. Because
Hmm.
we just had, what we were paying for was 110, so 100 down, 10 up, and they just bumped it up to 150 down. Just had to reset the modem and free
Right.
upgrade.
Hmm.
So I noticed that help. But my biggest thing is when I'm doing website programming, I need the upload speed,
Yeah,
just
that's
like when you're broadcasting out.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, that's true. And when you're uploading content to your YouTube channel too, it's nice to have
Right.
that big upload speed. Where Greg
Oh
is,
yeah.
Greg's not even getting 1 gig up. He's getting less than that. I'm like going, that's incredibly slow.
Yeah. One meg up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
He wouldn't be complaining at 1 gig up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, on his show, watching the ticker go across, I just sit there and cringe the whole entire show.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So are you going to spin up?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good. I
Yeah,
got
I was. ticket number 2, I think.
Awesome. Well, I've got my ticket. I'm still working on, getting the airfare and the hotel. So that
Right.
part is still up in the air. So I gotta sell some more
Well,
merch on my websites. So let me put that in the. There we go. Put that in. Oh, hey, Cardoso Media, welcome to the show. Glenn, Thunderbird Sits, and Gary from Brant Ariel. All right, there's my Teespring. I've got some new merchandise. I got a new design for my channel. I don't know if you saw that, Steve, but my new logo that Bill Thomas made for me looks really
I
sharp.
I did. I just saw it. In fact, I'll be going back over there later on right after the show's done.
Cool, cool. And so I put that on T-shirts, mugs, stickers, all
Hmm.
kinds of stuff. So if you guys want Artco merch, click on that, and I'll take you to that. Cool.
Very cool. Yeah, I sure hope you can make it because last year was phenomenal.
Yeah, I've heard so much about it and how much fun it was, and it's. I want to meet all the folks who have helped me out last Christmas with the Mavic
Right.
Air and the case for the Mavic Air and the case for my Phantom 3. I just want to go there so I could personally thank each one of
Hmm.
you that have helped me out. I mean, I just made a video, didn't think anything of it, and then all of a sudden I'm getting all these messages, and I'm like going, oh my god, I'm getting a drone.
Hmm.
Awesome. That was
Yeah.
that just made my Christmas.
Oh
So
yeah.
and I used the heck out of it. That's what I used to make that video that I uploaded today.
Hmm. It's a lot easier for you to get around. That's for sure.
Hmm. Now, did you see my latest real estate video that I uploaded today?
No,
Yeah, that
I
was
haven't.
right at Lake Arbor. As a matter of fact, it was only a couple blocks away. And when I,
Oh, the Lake Arbor one I saw. Yes. Yes, I
okay,
did.
okay. And then there's the Lakewood one. That's the one that I put out a couple weeks ago.
Hmm.
Mm, yep. I kind of wish I would have put a darker filter on because the front of the house, because of the morning sun, really washed out the video there. But when I came around the back, you could see that it was beige paint. That
Right.
so
Yeah.
I was able to
What
get a nice pull
you were
away
using?
where you could
What
see.
filter did you have on there?
I think I had an ND16.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did something different this time to where when I did the pull away, you could see the lake,
Yeah,
and
that was nice.
mhm. And hopefully any of you real estate people are watching. That
Yeah,
might sell that house a little faster.
that's for sure. That has become here in California, um, which I was on what they call the drone tart. It is a tort law committee.
Right?
I sat on all the phone calls for that and
Okay.
listened to all these attorneys on there where none of them have flown a drone, but everybody was so worried because they want to push this federal law through that it started out that in order to fly over, say, you take off from your house.
Right.
You would have to be 200 feet up in order to fly over anybody else's house unless you had permission. It was
Wow.
44 pages long, and it
Jeez.
got down to 8 pages. And at the last minute, they wanted to pull it, but they couldn't because it had already been agendized on the committee for their annual convention.
Right.
But it's to put all these restrictions on flying. And it's like, let the local jurisdictions handle it. You don't need federal laws for that.
Right. Well, I mean, it's California for you.
You don't have to tell me about that. That's a complete other story for your other show.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Uh, uh, yeah. So, okay. So, what was your first car that you owned?
First car, I
Yeah.
had not a car, a truck. I'm a big truck fan. I had a Chevy pickup.
Oh,
I'm a big
cool.
Chevy fan.
Uh
In
huh.
fact, I have two in front.
Uh
One's my service truck that I use for electrical,
huh.
and then also my other one is a four-door four-wheel drive that we use to go up to the mountains and stuff like that. And
Cool. 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 Yeah, my first car that I owned was a 1980 Honda station wagon, Civic station wagon.
oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah, I got that when I was in college, and then after I graduated, I decided, I'm going to give this comedy thing uh, a,
Mhm.
a go, and started traveling all over the country, and it didn't take long for that car to finally just fall apart on me, and I needed another car.
Yeah, the amount of miles that you were putting on.
Yes, that's true. And it already had a bunch of miles on it at that time because I graduated in '89 and that was a 9-year old car already.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I did buy a car though afterwards, right when I got back from the service. I saved up all my money when I was in basic training and when I went on to medical school because I was medical aerovac in the Air Force.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I saved back and I said, I'm going to buy myself a brand new car. So I bought myself a brand new Dodge Charger,
Uh,
1972 Dodge Charger at the
Oh,
time.
nice. Nice.
So
Wish I bet you wish you could have still had that car right now.
I saw it go on the block, which I had the small engine because
Uh,
for insurance wise here in California, so I had the 318. If you went to the 360, it was double. Went to the 400, it would double. 440, it would double. The
oh,
insurance premiums would go up. So it was like, okay, I got the car, but I can't afford the insurance. So
oh
it just had
man.
the 318. But I actually saw one go on the block with the small V8 on there.
Hmm.
It went for $79,000.
Wow.
I'm
Amazing.
going. That would have been a great 401k investment just to
Yeah.
put it in the garage and park it.
There you go. There you go. So did you go overseas when you were in the service?
We flew overseas. I was mainly stationed here, and our runs were typically from. I was stationed in Norton Air Force Base, which is just north of March Air Force Base and Riverside,
Right?
and we would fly typically from there from there to Hawaii or from there to Travis Air Force Base up in the Bay Area.
I see.
And then from there, we'd fly to Hawaii, from Hawaii to Clark Air Force Base. And that was our normal run for shuttling patients back and forth.
Right?
But, uh, but I taught survival medicine to the airvac people in order to give ongoing classes of what to do, how to survive in case the plane goes down. And that's what I did. And then I would fly. I got a chance to fly around in some fighter jets. So after I
I see.
got my flight training, I became real good friends with the instructor who he was actually left the Navy as a Blue Angel pilot.
Oh,
he he was on for one full term, and he ended up going into the Air Force, and he was flying the naval jets while the Air Force was retrofitting. At the time, all the Phoenix guidance missile system, going way back to the original one.
Right.
And so he was flying it. So I became good friends with him. So he would fly to all these bases around California and all the way up to Anchorage. So I got a chance to catch hops when he was going that way.
Cool.
So for my birthday, one year, he said, just be at this other base at 300 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, never mind, just bring a camera and be there. I'll have all the rest of your flight helmet and oxygen mask, because that's all locked down on base.
Right.
And we took off, and I'm watching the instrumentation, and it's pitch black. And we're still flying north, and all of a sudden you're starting to see the colors on the horizon coming up. And right as he ends up, and we were in an F-14 Tomcat.
Wow.
He brings it up, and as the wings start sweeping forward,
Right.
he banks it. And where were we? We're over the top of Lake Powell.
Oh.
He flew down the Colorado River all the way down back into Las Vegas, where we had to go for our training run.
Oh,
And so I got to
boy.
watch the sunrise across the Grand Canyon in an F-14.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
and when I got out of the jet, he goes, "This is the most expensive birthday gift you'll ever receive in your entire life." And it is.
So when you were at Clark, did you ever get a chance to go off base there?
Mhm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
my dad was stationed there in 1945.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
During the big wartime.
Yep. Yeah, he brought back some photos of B-29s flying out of there.
Yeah. That would have been good. I mean, when you're talking about warbirds back in that time,
Yeah.
compared to what I was in and compared to what they have now, I
Hmm.
mean, you think of those poor guys out there across trying to get themselves navigated. I mean, you relied on your navigator, and there wasn't, radar was just coming in at that time.
Right.
It had just come in, and they were trying to get it refined.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty primitive compared to today. Hmm.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
much so.
Yeah,
Now
as a
you can pick up an app on your phone, and I can look where every airliner is in the air anywhere in the world right
hmm
now.
my dad was in the signal company, so he worked on radio and radar for the 5th Air Force out there.
Oh wow,
Hmm.
very cool. So how long was he there for?
I think he was only there for a few months, and then the war was over, and I
Hmm.
think he went to Okinawa just before the end of the war, and then the
Uh-huh.
war ended, and then he was shipped up to the Tokyo area, where he went to Atsugi Naval Air
Hmm.
Station, and he was part of the occupation force, and he was only there till November, and then he was on his way home, and he was home by Christmas time.
Oh, okay. Well,
Hmm.
that was nice.
Yep. And
Not
uh,
not the
w-
place to be.
that's true. When he was in Okinawa and he got his orders to go to Tokyo, they said, "Well, you got two choices. You could either take the troop transport, or you could take the C-3 and fly to Tokyo from there." So he elected to take that, and one of the things that he got to see was the aftermath of Hiroshima.
Oh yeah,
And they saw that, and they said, "Wow, one bomb did
yeah.
that." They were just amazed about that.
I mean, we only could see pictures, and the pictures and the devastation that you see, to have been able to experience it like that, real life, like your dad had,
Hmm.
that just would have to be jaw dropping.
Hmm. And then when you got to Tokyo, Tokyo was most of it was in ruins because of fire bombings and the
Right.
devastation there. And when you got to Atsugi, there were only a few hangars that were still somewhat intact,
Hmm.
and inside of them were Oka bombs. I don't know if you know what an Oka was. That was the
No.
rocket powered flying bomb that they had.
Okay.
Yep, that they would
I know what you're
launch from
talking
a
about.
Betty bomber to sink our ships out at sea.
Right.
Hmm. And
Wow, that's something.
he's got a photograph of one of his buddies sitting on top of one of them. Yeah.
That would be very cool.
Hmm. Hmm. And the neat thing about it is doing stand up comedy, I got a chance to entertain our troops there in 1995.
Right. I know you'd mentioned that once before.
Hmm.
That's quite an honor. I
Yeah.
thank you for being a part of that, to go
Mm.
over to take care of the troops and give them some laughs and fun and some
Right.
happiness in their lives.
Hmm. Brent Nunley is in the house. Welcome, Brent. Yeah, we went to Japan and South Korea. It was a 3 week tour, and it was in the middle of January, so we got snow and uh, well, when we got parts of Japan, it, it wasn't until we got to Korea that it started snowing. But when we got to Okinawa, it was like, oh, this is heaven because it was
Yeah.
so much warmer. It was like being in northern Florida or South Carolina. It was in
Uh-huh.
the low to mid 70s during the day, and
Wow.
yeah,
Well, being that time of year, now you get yourself there in the middle of their summer, and it's not so
yeah,
nice
that's
weather.
true. That's true. So, how long were you in the service?
I was in just about 2.5 years, and I got discharged because I became a diabetic,
Ah, I see.
and being type 1 insulin dependent,
Mm,
you're at 40,000 feet with patients. They don't need another patient,
that's
so
true. That's true.
they discharged me out of it. So,
I see. I see. I see. So
but
you
but
can't
I love
donate
my
blood
time
too.
there. What's that?
You can't donate blood then.
Not anymore. That's
Yeah.
when we were talking the one day online. We were chatting back and forth when you told me you were almost up to the what,
Three
3 gallons, is
gallons.
it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was 1 pint shy of my 1 gallon card.
Oh boy. Hmm.
And I'm sitting there going, I said, take it and go dump it.
Yeah, just tell them it's extra sweet, you know.
Yeah, I became a diabetic
I see.
early in life.
I okay. Well,
45 years.
wow. So it looks like you have it under control. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, there's side effects to everything. I mean, mainly the vision, but
Right.
um, I keep my as they call the AC1, which is the big test
Right.
for diabetics,
Hmm.
keeping that under control. So
That's
most
good.
diabetics go like every 3 months. I go every half a year or even longer to go see my doctor because I'm pretty much in control.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you look like you don't have a weight issue, so
Oh yeah, I do.
uh,
I've gained some of it back.
uh,
Sitting at a desk and a computer puts it on you real quick, real
right.
fast.
Well, you're not big like Michael in Philadelphia.
No,
That
no, no,
guy,
no.
600 pounds, and I could see
Yeah,
why he was diabetic. But when he lost all that weight, he's not diabetic anymore. So,
yeah.
hmm.
He was fortunate being type 2, where the diet and exercise, you can keep control of it
Right.
by there. With type 1, your pancreas just shuts down completely,
Hmm.
and you're insulin dependent. And then seeing all the point, I came on to where at least we had disposable syringes. I have a friend of mine that had it when he was 10 years old. He's 6 years older than I am.
Right.
And he came down with it at 10. That was in the days his mother had to boil the needles. I mean,
Oh,
boil the glass syringes
right.
and sharpen the needles, resharpen the needles
Oh,
in
ouch.
order to give the injections.
Oh, man.
Not like the disposable ones. And nowadays it's in a pen. So it's like a rotary
Right.
gauge on the back. You say, I've got to take 10 units. You just go 10 and you're
Right.
done.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, my dad had some friends that were, older than he was, so they'd be in their 70s at the time, and they had to do insulin where they had to self-inject, and yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That was the hardest part, is giving yourself an injection.
Right.
It didn't hurt, and I, up to the time, because my doctor wanted me to play a joke on this, like Nurse Kravitz, that was at the hospital, who he kind of got along with. He goes, when she comes in to teach you, he says, I just want you to ask her how many units and draw. Well, she brought at that time two insulins, which is that one was long lasting and one was regular.
Right.
She wanted me to draw the long lasting in one, draw the regular in another, and stick myself twice. Yeah. I picked it up, cleaned it off the vials. I said, how many units? And she goes, what are you doing? I says, how many units? So she told me what I needed. I started drawing. I grabbed for the other bottle. I cleaned it up, double checked the label, clarified it. I drew it in, and she goes, and her statement was, where in the hell did you learn how to do that? I says, I've probably given over 10,000 vaccinations in my life, and as young as I am. And I go,
Right.
but that's one thing I've never done. I've never given myself an injection.
Right.
So I just sat there trying to give it myself a leg until she slapped my hand and the needle went in.
Well, now with all the advances in medicine, what kind of here we are, we're a drone channel. We're talking about diabetes. Oh,
Yeah.
that there's a tangent right there. So, uh, uh, yeah. So, what are the advances that you've seen since your diabetes has come on?
Well, like I say, before it was beef and pork insulin, and now it's human enzymes. It's created, man-made created,
Right.
and it's human enzymes instead to make it. But the biggest one, there's a company in San Diego. It's called ViaCyte, and they're the first one have created a capsule to where they can take the isolate cells, and the isolate cells are put into the capsule.
Uh huh.
Because everybody knows, if you put anything into your body and it's foreign, your body's going to attack it and kill
Right.
it off, whatever what it is. They've already done a 2-year study in Canada. They are leaps and bounds ahead of everybody. And what it is to let those isolate cells regenerate the pancreas again. It's still zipped up. We haven't heard the final word yet, but in essence, what it will do is those isolate cells go in you, they implant the capsule, the isolate cells go in, and they can start regenerating the pancreas for somebody like me that's type 1,
Wow. That's awesome. That
to
is
where goodbye insulin.
right. Hmm. Hmm. All right. Let's get back to drones.
Drones.
So we've been seeing a lot in the last couple of years. We've seen some improvements in drone technology. We've got the infrared cameras that are coming out. Uh, Camera technology is getting better and better. Uh, Even the little tiny drones, the FPVs, they're
Right.
getting more sophisticated and better because now that they have GPS for them, which is really good,
Right.
makes that a lot more fun, where you're not constantly fighting and keeping your wits about everything. But I mean, it's an awesome time to be in the drone sphere right now, just to sit back and watch all this stuff happening. And I'm just amazed. Now we've got uh, little stories come out about the Mavic Mini. I mean,
Well,
what's your opinion about that? Is that like fake news, or is that just kind of hype?
I'm I'm one unless you got a solid source,
Right,
which the sources that are reporting it, I'm not putting down Drone DJ. Osita Lab, I know. He has been so wrong and so many times, it's unbelievable. But Drone DJ also has, they give a lot of good information.
right.
But at times, the Phantom 5 should have been here already 4 times, according to their news articles.
Mm-hmm.
And for the life of me, I don't know what it is. I mean, we've got the M2 Pro and the N2 Zoom,
Right,
um, and the Pro being 20 megapixel. But the problem being is, especially like for me, because I want to get my certificate, Part 107, like Jim Boyd has, and I want to be able to do shooting of construction job sites because I have my connections being an electrical contractor,
right,
and being here for almost 37 years as a contractor.
right.
Um, I have a lot of people that want me to hurry up and get this done. But the
There you
problem being is the best drone that was out there, they took it off the market, and that was the Phantom 4. And when the V2 came out, having
right,
a mechanical shutter,
right,
that gives the best mapping images that you're going to get in
right.
that anywhere within that price range.
Mm-hmm.
Because the RTK, which most people don't, they want just images to see a progression of the job site. They're not,
Right.
looking for survey quality. Now, for that, yes, you need the RTK, or like Jim has on his
Inspire.
210, which
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
210 with the RTK unit on it.
I see.
There, he can sit there and come up. This is the volumetric. This is the volume of this dirt stack sitting
Mm-hmm.
out there. That's going way into it. But the problem is there's so many companies out here that I've spoken with locally, that are in the mapping industry.
Right.
80% of it is strictly just photography, or even still images of going in and just catching individual images, and not so much 3D mapping.
Right.
But the 3D mapping is in there with that mechanical shutter that's on the P4 V2,
Right.
or even on the P4. Um, you it can't There's no other drone out there that's really keeping up with it, unless you go into the high end line.
Right. Right. And that's another area of business that I want to get into is construction and
Mm-hmm.
building inspection. So
Right.
I'm probably going in the next few days. I'm going to do some promo work of like roof inspections and stuff
Right.
like that. I live in an apartment complex. I could just go outside, out back here, get my drone up, take a few photos, and put that in my portfolio on my website, which is artcodroneservices.com.
There we go.
So,
Yeah, because the different software that is out there, like, even, I should say, the least expensive that I know of is Drone Deploy,
right,
and where you upload all those photos to their server, and in typically 12 hours, it's turned around into a process that it's all 3D imaging. So it would stitch all those individual photos together. It's all done for you.
Oh,
And
nice.
then there's Pix 4D, and there's a lot of other ones out there besides DJI's application that they came out with.
Right.
But that's what a lot of people are looking. They're looking at like just the mapping of a 3D model or 2D, even 2D model,
Right.
of going through to just shoot it, so you can say, okay, today there was 2 stories high. A month later we're 4 stories high, but we're getting an image of it that we can actually show.
Right. 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 Yeah, I just saw a thing on Facebook for I don't know if it's a software product where it measures the roof. You just fly
Mhm.
over, take a picture, and then you, I don't know, run it through the software, and it'll say, okay, here are the dimensions of the roof. You know,
Right.
yeah, which is
Take a look
cool.
at dronedeploy.com. Take a
Drone
look at
deploy.
them.
Okay, I will.
Yeah,
I will.
they give you and you can use your Air, or you can use your
Right.
P3.
Mm-hmm.
You could use that, and
Right.
the images are going to be not quite as refined, but it'll be good enough to give you. They give you a 14-day free trial to
Okay.
try it, so you can get everything set up. You download the software,
Right.
you put it in your controller,
Mm-hmm.
and then the thing about them is nice is on your laptop or desktop,
Cool.
you create your route ahead of time. So when you get out there, all you have to do is download that route onto your
Right.
controller. You take off and fly it. So let's say if it
Awesome.
needs more than one battery, it comes back, lands, you change the battery, and it goes back to where it left off and continues photographing.
Cool. Well, Steve, it's about that time in the show we need to kind of relax a little bit. You know, Ken has
Sure.
he has razzmatazz. Well, I have art matazz. So here we go. Let's yeah. Ah, wasn't that relaxing?
It's like watching shooting stars across your high sky country.
Well, what that was underwater footage that I took, and then I
Uh-huh.
just ran it through a filter to give it that purple look, and all those bubbles are just coming up from the bottom of the pond or wherever I was.
Wow,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that's cool. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I saw him going across, and it's like watching the stars.
Oh,
Like you're watching, laying there and looking up and watching the stars just fly by.
that stuff that's going across is probably some aquatic insect going across,
Oh, okay.
or a fish larvae, or hmm
Oh, okay.
which is cool. So Ken had mentioned that he doesn't want chocolates sent to him anymore, but I like chocolates, so if you want to send chocolates, broken drones, or a drone that you want me to try out and do a review on, you could send it to this address: Art Carlson, 5557 West 79th Avenue, Apartment 3, Arvada, Colorado, 80003. Did I mention I like chocolates? I like chocolates.
You and me both.
Mm-hmm. Well, you gotta get the diet stuff, right? You can't.
Actually, what I eat is dark chocolate because if
Ah,
you look at the carbs are a lot less if you're
right.
eating. I eat like 80%, 70, 80% cocoa,
I see.
and a whole bar is what like a regular small size candy bar would be.
Right, right. And you know what? I love dark chocolate.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites. So whenever I make fudge, I always
Hmm.
mix a little bit of dark chocolate in with the. What I do is I do a third, a third, a third. I do unsweetened milk chocolate and dark chocolate,
Ooh,
and then I
that
put
sounds good.
a little splash of raspberry syrup in it.
Wow,
Hmm.
that sounds darn good. Yeah, I like the dark chocolate with a nice glass of red wine.
There you go. There you go. And they say that chocolate is actually good for you.
It is.
Hmm.
It is. Even my endocrinologist, like he says, the dark chocolate is okay.
Hmm. Hmm. So
So,
where are you flying off to next, Steve? Got any?
well, the travel wise will be spin up.
Oh, no, I mean for drone flying. Do you have any special places
um,
that you like to go to, or
I've been so busy with work this last year and the end of last year, since the end of last year. I've just taken my drone with me when I go to a project in the city,
right,
and I've flown over there to show everybody. It's a live. I usually go live. I don't do a lot of editing,
right,
and to show them about all the apartments that are being built all around the project that I'm going to be working on. Because
right,
what we're trying to do is to get it into a get them the city to allow us to rezone it to where we're going to make it as an entertainment, a food location, because it's an older
nice,
tilt-up building that's still there in the
right.
middle of all this. It was all commercial businesses. It used to be. They rezoned it, and it's 348, 295, 460, 167 apartments are going up all around us or are up.
Mm.
So what we're trying to do is make it, and we've convinced the city, this is walking. People need to walk to there. They don't have to drive. They don't have to
Mm.
go away to do it. So
Hmm.
that's what I've been working on.
Oh,
City
well,
rezoning and regulations.
well, that's what we have here in Denver. The economy is really strong, and but not enough
Hmm.
apartments or housing. So we've
Right.
got a housing, and mostly apartments are going up everywhere. They've
Oh, yeah.
redeveloped a lot of part of Denver down there by the rail
Hmm.
area where all the warehouses used to be. Some of those have been converted to lofts, and they put up a lot of apartments down there, which is cool.
Oh, okay.
The problem
Yeah,
is it's driving up rent everywhere.
it is. And the big thing here we have is, as everybody knows, California being so expensive because
Mm,
it's like buying a place, location, location, location.
mm, that's true.
Because like when I was at Spin Up, we were talking about price of homes there
Hmm.
compared to what they were here, and it was just like if I was to sell my place, which is not the greatest home in the world. I mean, it's a nice home,
Right.
and we live in like I say, as the crow flies, 1 mile to the harbor. So when I go up and I fly up my home, that's how far it is to the harbor.
Oh, cool.
Um, and it's the location.
Right.
Now, if I was on the other side of the freeway,
Mm-hmm.
the value of our home would go up roughly about $250,000 to $300,000 just being 4 blocks that way.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing.
And our home there, if I took it there, would probably be somewhere maybe around 250, 300,000. Where unfortunately it's an unrealistic value, which,
Right.
value of a home is only till you sell it. When you say you've
Right.
got something out there, $900,000, which is ridiculous, it's not
I,
worth that.
I know.
But it's crazy. It just where you live.
Right. Uh, Back when I had cable, one of my favorite shows was watching those Flip It shows where
Yeah.
and a lot of them were from California, and they'd take a
Hmm.
little cracker box house, maybe 600 square feet, $500,000. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, good lord, that is really expensive.
Yeah. And they're still doing it. They
Yep.
are still doing it.
Yeah.
All the old bungalows and stuff. There's an
Mm.
area just north of us. It would be Newport Beach would be the next biggest harbor going north, and then north of that
Right.
is Huntington Harbor.
Uh,
Now there's places in there that people have bought. They ended up with goodles of money coming out of the software industry and stuff
right.
like that. He bought this house for, I think it was 1.8 million at the time. This is a long time ago. This is like 2005.
Right.
Okay. He bought the lot next to it and mowed the house down so he could just have vacant property. The other house came up, so he mowed that down and put a waterfall and palm trees and everything in there. And what does this guy do? He goes out in his dock and he fishes, and that's all he does.
Oh, wow, that's cool. That's cool.
But yet other people are tearing down those one level homes,
Right.
and they're now 3 stories home, 3,500, 4,000 square feet.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, we were talking about donating blood, and I had to bring out my Ken doll, my Ken Heron doll.
Yep,
Yep.
I remember that in the video.
That was so cool of Ken to play that on his show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that was a great video. That
Mm-hmm.
was well done, and what a great thing. For
Mm,
people, if you can donate blood, donate blood.
mm-hmm. I might go back in and re-edit it and shorten it quite a bit, like Ken did, and he did a super job editing it.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, we did a little bit over an hour, and I want to thank you for uh, being on the show. It was a pleasure having you, and hope to see you at Spin Up in a couple months.
I hope too, and thank you for the opportunity to come on, Art. It was my pleasure. I feel honored being on. This is my first guest show, so thank you.
All right. Well, you're welcome. So uh, let's go back in and thank everybody for. Hey, Trevor is in the house. Thank you for coming, Steve, Mac, Brent, Ariels. All right, we got a good crowd in. So I just want to thank everybody for coming down. Oh, DumbTube is here. Welcome, welcome. I just want to thank everybody for coming in and come back in next week and we'll have some more great guests with hard hitting questions. So, you guys all have a great weekend and see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you.